Give me 1 second. I'm just waiting for the live, go live to show up so I can go. Okay. Why is this not working? Okay. Got it. Alright guys. Let me know if it's fine. We haven't done YouTube in a while, so I'm sure my settings are still the same, but still I want to make sure that you guys can see it clear. Anyways, we'll start with this. Yash, what's up? Carson, what's good? And I think the rest will come in later, I believe. Okay, something I want to touch up on first of all. Let's just clear everything. One thing that I want to remind you guys, something that we might have forgotten, or it's been a long time since we've covered this. Guys, if you want to grow in this market, number one, I always say risk management, patience, and whatnot, right? You have to be able to last in this market. What do I mean by that? I mean, sometimes if you only have $1,000 account, for example, or let's say $1,500, and if you start going heavy with this $1,500 and that's all you can afford, and there's only so much money you're making at your job, it's not gonna work out for you, right? You cannot blow this $1,500 up by gambling and then wait and then sit there for another 2 months while you work, work your ass off, save that money, come back into the markets. Don't do that stuff, because I've done that in my life in the past many years ago, and it wasn't a pretty thing, right? Why not just save this $1,500? If you're doing the job on the side, great, you have other expenses you're taking care of, right? You gotta last in this market, right? No matter how confirmed you are on the play, this $1,500, don't be trading more than $150 to $200, especially with options. You gotta have cash. If this position goes to zero, a lot of options go to zero. You need enough money in this market to be able to last. If you're making big trades, the rewards will be there, but the risk is also yours. Remember that. All right. So risk management, always. Like, this is something I've followed all my life now, for a few years. And it's worked out great. I promise you guys. All right, I promise you, it's worked out great for me, and I'm sure that you guys can also take advantage of this. So risk management. Second, be patient. Right, patient. I practice patience in the as much as I can. In the group. Many days I don't take trades, but I'm there sitting with you guys because it's not there. For example, today was a range day, and we saw that it was a range day. I gave you guys a gamma update in the morning. Unless we went on to one side and we had more leaning towards one side, then it will be different. But there really wasn't much to do today. Look at the last 2 days, very tight, just before CPI, right? Do we break out upwards here or downwards? So let's see. Risk management, patience, and work hard. In this sense, you should always try to learn or understand how this market works. That's something that nobody knows. Obviously, we can just get the best judgment knowledge we can, read as much as you can, right? Try to learn or understand how these options move, options premium and options pricing. This is helping me a lot with my trading these days, right? A lot of you guys have known me for 2 years, 3 years, and I have improved. Now I know options when they're fairly valued and when they're gonna buy them up and sell them. And I've been doing this with you guys for many weeks now. Let's go over the SPX monthly chart first. There's a lot of construction going outside my house, by the way. I don't know what they're doing. They're still here. It's nighttime, so any disturbance, I'm sorry about that. What is this? Number one, first thing that we see right off this monthly a chart since 2011 is that we have been bouncing off the 50 MA. The blue line is the 50 MA, the red is the 200 moving day average. Every time we approached 50 MA, we bounced off. The only thing is, May has a long way to go. Do we go up or down? I have no idea. Let's see what happens. All right, you guys might have some buffering issues because they are fixing the internet outside my house today, so that I did not know about that in my area. So you guys might face some buffering issues. So I'll just type that in, just rewind, and you guys should be good. I did not know they're doing this internet thing outside my house today, guys, so I apologize. All right, and this, and then let's just go with a triple Q monthly as well. Triple Q monthly also, same thing, a monthly bear flag, or do we reverse right back up from here? We hold the 50 MA and we just keep going. All right, IWM as well. This IWM was stronger before, but now it's leading. Remember one thing, before the market fell down, IWM was the one that was leading more downside than SPX and Qs, and then they followed right after, if you guys remember. Okay, and also this bear flag is already kind of breaking. Does the same thing happen with SPX or triple Q? All right, we'll find out this in the coming days, coming months, and coming weeks. And is my internet really giving you guys a lot of issues? Okay, let me close my everything so it's easy for you guys, I guess. I hope that will help. And no, my net is fine now. Sorry guys, I hope it's fine, but some issues with buffering, I know. Oh man, I'm getting off topic here now. There's some things I want to talk about, but I see what you guys are saying. But anyways, hold on. I'm just gonna type in Discord. They're doing internet service in area. Maybe that's why it's slow. And guys, just fast forward something that you don't want to hear when I'm typing in Discord for these other guys. And is it really super slow? Okay, thanks Yash, so that wasted a few minutes. My apologies. So IWM, just like here, the 200-day moving average touched on SPX and triple Q. Right now, when I talk on voice chat and give you guys all the updates, I'm always going to give you guys the factual information, what's true. In there, I don't involve my bias. I don't involve what I think. I give you guys the complete factual information, what's really positive in this market in the coming on the same day, I mean, where the option pricing is lied on the day. All right, for example, today when we were doing the SPX, right, I came with you guys and something that I told you guys that 4120 on SPX, right? This was completely based on options premium. When this thing was breaking out, number one thing I mentioned the group right away, hey, 4125, there's resistance. How do I know that? Because I was watching the call premium, put premium, just the way it works. So I'm not going to get into that just yet. Only people who are regular in the coming months, in 1 year or so, I'll teach you guys. It will change your trading life, I promise. And I saw that puts were going to go up and calls were going to go down. That's just how the system worked. And I knew that was going to be resistance because a lot of this market is pretty much controlled. A lot of it is controlled by options, right? Or most of it, okay? And now on SP, oh wow, we actually closed pretty ugly. I missed these last 5 minutes. And if we look at the 4-hour chart here, going into tomorrow, the 4-hour chart going into, this is not good. This internet's throwing me off. Yeah, this is, let's see which way it breaks out. I have no idea. But let's go to the rates first, right? US 10-year rates. Let's talk about those. What have they been doing? So US 10-year rates, if you guys remember a few months ago, everyone was talking about it. Hey, they're going up, they're whatever's happening. And now the last few weeks, nobody has really mentioned it, right? But if we go on that's the daily, if we go on the weekly, the rates are a big spike up, right? And when the rates are up, when the rates go up a lot, it's usually weaker for tech. Tech usually goes down. A lot of momentum recently, but it's been holding the measurement above 101. And my ticker's not changing. Oh, damn it. DXY, come on. There we go. If Nils is watching, he's always watching the dollar. DXY also, right, we had this 114 measurement and now at 101.52. Another ticker that I was watching with this was the Euro USD, right? Euro USD. This had obviously currencies, guys, as you guys know. Oh man. Because if one currency is down, right, for example, if I'm doing business in the US dollars, right, if I'm in America and all of a sudden dollar is strong, right, And my company's revenues are likely also going to fall because now people buying phones in India or China, right, the iPhones, that revenue when you convert it is lower because to us US dollars matter more, right, than the other currencies. So that's why when the dollar is usually weak, is good for the markets because we get increased revenue from across the world, right? And when the dollar is really strong, our revenues go down, obviously, right? And also import export. Once I think I spoke with you guys the currency carry trade. You guys can look into this term. I'll type it out for you guys how this also works. Currency carry trade. That's what it's called. That's a term that you guys should be familiar with, or maybe understand a little bit if you're trading for long term, so you guys see how these things work, right? And any ticker you guys want to go over, just type it in the chat and I'll go over it. Yash, man, what you want me to do? Because now this internet threw my momentum off. There were a few things I wanted to talk about, but let's go over some charts. I'll go over Amazon first. Amazon weekly chart, I really like this chart. Then we'll put the 50 and the 200 MA on it as well, the moving averages. This is the weekly chart, beautiful chart. From the last since 2018, it just keeps going up. And hey man, why aren't these showing up? My moving averages. Okay, they'll come on this own, I think. But it's at a very good support zone. This zone is a very strong support zone, right? Obviously it's not going to be an easy breakdown from here. I did add some equity around 85 bucks. Options I'm not playing here just because if we do decide to test lower one more time, a panic sell if it happens sometime this year and then they shoot it right back up, that's when I really want to buy Amazon or more of it. Or if we start basing here for a long time, I think they will give us an opportunity once, just one day, and then we'll go up. Obviously I'll add more. Amazon, if we hold this level for another 2-3 months or maybe 4 months around this zone, I will most likely add more equity. And again, I'm also not scared to add Amazon here if I have to. Equity conditions improve, right? Sometimes you just gotta catch the meat off the bone, and that's all we care about sometimes. And if Amazon does keep going up, things improve, then obviously it'll be back in options. I'll start playing individual name options as well. But my whole idea here is just be patient. No need to rush on anything, right? And Google, this one 105 level was very attractive last few weeks, so I kept giving it to you guys. Then we had 107 and 110. One thing I can tell you guys right here on Google, based on the gamma of the last few weeks to 2-3 months, 105 and 107 and 110 have been getting a lot of interest to the upside. With this, basically what they're doing is when they buy a ton of upside with options on these levels, basically what this means is it's a huge resistance level. They will not let this up. So some people think when we have enough positive gamma to the upside, the way I view this, what I learned in my last few months or 1 year of following gamma, when there's a lot of interest to the upside, they usually create a lot of resistance with it, right? The only time this will be bullish is when we start holding above 110. When we start holding above 110, now all these options that they bought, if they bought these options, let's say far out in September, October, that's going to give it a boost if we hold above 110. Okay, until 110 is resistance, but above 110, what's going to happen is if we keep holding it above, the deltas of 105, 107, 110 start going up slowly since they're in the money, and that also causes some buying, and then resistance turns into huge support. All right, it turns into huge support. Another strike to keep an eye on Google is 103. 103, they build a lot of negative gamma on this, right? 105 as well, but 103 mainly. Now this equals a lot of support initially, right? But once under, then obviously it's bearish. All right, then we have deltas to the downside working, okay, and then the upside deltas come off, then the more selling pressure goes to the downside. All right, so I hope you guys understand this thing. I cover this all the time in MSL on voice chat and stuff. So but just to give you guys an idea. But if Google can hold above 110 successfully in the coming 1-2 days and CPA is good, this thing will go to 150 slides on equity that I need to. That's the monthly on Apple. I think we might have a double top here, or we can even consolidate for some time on Apple. On Apple, we might even consolidate for a few months here if it does not break down. Apple gamma level that it needs to break, that has been holding. The level Apple needs to break is 157.50. That's the level that Apple needs to break. 157.50 goes, Apple 50 MA is coming. But this is the level has been giving you support all this entire time that I've been covering for the last 2 months almost. So if you're 10 gamma, I often say this, that 157.50 has to break in order for this to go up. Another name that has is very impressive. I took some red losses on this. I do have my position still, but I was not expecting this on Nvidia. But hey, it happened. That's the market, right? That's the beauty of the market. Last month we had an indecisive candle. This month looks like it might be a fake breakout, and we might test around 260. But Nvidia, one thing I want to tell you guys, as long as we hold above 260, positioning is to the upside on this name, guys. If 260 breaks, that's when Nvidia options will help with selling on Nvidia. 260 is insane, and lately 290 has been a very big resistance on Nvidia, the 290 level. Right, right now it's at also it came down, so it's 285 right now. But 290 has been acting as a strong resistance. So has been 280, even though we're above 280 right now. And then 270, 275 have been giving it a lot of support lately through options. But this name, it needs 260 break. If you're bearish on Nvidia, 260 breaks, I think that will set it up, and then we might have some trigger selling later on in the coming month or so. Now you might be like, why should you miss a move from 290 to 260? Because I don't know if 260 comes, because this thing can break out above 300 and just keep going. All right. I don't mess with positive positioning because I've learned it the hard way, and I keep learning. Microsoft, I do regret not adding Microsoft equity. I should have got some of this, but I think we'll have an opportunity again in the coming months. But obviously, artificial intelligence, AI, just took off Microsoft and Nvidia, right? That's why they say sometimes on the monthly stocks then don't test the 50 MA often, but when they do come test the 50 MA, blindly just buy it no matter what's happening in the world, right? Microsoft did come down from 350 all the way towards 214, right? Market is forward looking. Remember that on the monthly it gave a really nice bounce, not once, but we had 2-3 opportunities. But we did nail this big move on options. If you guys remember, we took 5 to 20 on options, right? So let's see again. Microsoft, the option level that's been holding is 310 resistance. 310 resistance a lot, and then 280 has a lot of support as well through options. 300 is no man's land, right? I don't know what happens at 300, but 310 is massive resistance at the moment, and then 280 is support, and 300 no man's land. All right. Another name that has moving a lot lately, that has been moving, is AMD. Advanced Micro Devices. This name right here has decent support at the $87 mark, and the $80 dip was a pretty neat, just right for the 50 MA. Sometimes when you guys trade these charts, right, let's just quickly go over this. Sometimes when you trade this chart, you're looking at the daily, right? On the earnings, we had this amazing dip. So sometimes when we do make trades and we're looking at these charts, make sure you guys zoom out. Now here's the daily chart, right? That's a 50 and 200 MA. Below the 50, we came towards the 200 MA. Along with this 200-day moving average on earnings, this was the monthly 50 MA as well, right? So I'll just type it out for you guys. So you are seeing the daily 200 MA, right? But are you also looking at the monthly? Because the market was pretty strong at that day. I think it was holding pretty well. So AMD was not just going to flush for no reason, right? Did you guys look at the monthly 50 MA as well, right? So it came down towards the daily. The reason I'm stressing on 50 and 200-day moving averages, because they work monthly. They work so well on the monthly, right? No matter what headlines going on in the world, but these averages are amazing on the first time touch. So when on the daily we were approaching 200 MA, and then the monthly we have the 50 MA that we approached, and that dip was bought right back up, and this was a huge move that one could have caught, right? And AMD, the day AMD opened, we were talking about puts. One thing that I do want to clarify, when I was giving the puts option pricing, and on the earnings day, I did not make the trade. But so see how we came just close to 50 MA. There was a long support. You could have played equity here as well. You did not have to play just options. You can play equity on this name as well because it moves so well. All right. The day we were just coming back to options pricing for a bit on AMD puts. The day we had a good movement, volatility, I'm able to read the option pricing much better. We spoke about the puts. Now I don't know if KB is on here, but one thing, one thing. Dave's making fun of me in the chat. When we spoke about the puts, let's say on day one, I talk about the option pricing, right? Day one, I talk about the option pricing. I say AMD, for example, 85 puts, just example, that $1.50 is a good price. Now they're trading at 270, for example. I can pretty much bet my life, unless there's real selling, everything going on, they just want to flush this thing, or I mean, this could be puts or calls, doesn't matter, right? If I say options is trading at 270, I prove this to you guys over and over again, that if they come down towards 150, and these levels obviously change because the options are time sensitive, right? Or time decay, volatility, delta, gamma also sometimes change with time, right? Depending on how much time is left. If I say I would not buy these puts at 270, I want them at 150, that means they're likely going to have an intraday dip or something to bring these puts back towards this price. And when that dip comes, if we're talking about puts here, so a rip, when they're priced near 150, 160, like a 10-cent difference, you should be watching for the flows coming in that option. If you see increased flows, they're likely going to continue the momentum on the trending side. So if puts were trading at 270, I said, hey man, keep an eye on AMD for buyers of that option, right? Market makers or people that understand options well, you know, there will be buyers of that option. Keep an eye on these things. The thing is it true for day two as well? No. This information that I give you on day one is not the same for day two. All right, options are time sensitive. All right, because now with the theta time decay, there's pricing that has been taken. Like if these puts close at 270 today, tomorrow morning, if AMD opens at the same price, these puts are no longer 270, right? There'll be a different price after you take out the premium or time decay. Okay, so on the day two, KB, you mentioned, hey, they came back to this price, but I right was said that was only for day one, not for day two. Okay, and also one thing, another thing that I want to go over when I give you guys options pricing. Let's say I say AMD 85 puts. Let's say currently they're trading at 270, and I say, hey, if they come down now 83 puts, if I say, hey, if these puts, now let's say these puts are currently, just an example, I'm just gonna make a note. Currently they're going for $1.60, and I say if these puts come down to $1.05, keep an eye on them. Now these 83 puts might come to 105 before these get to 150. If the trending is really strong, 83 puts will have flows at 105, and they will likely buy them at 105 when we keep going down, and these might not come to 150, 160 at all. This depends on gamma and strike. Which strike do I want to focus on? Do I want to focus on 85, 83, or a different strike? That all depends on the open interest options volume. It depends on the gamma updates that we get. Gamma updates are delayed, so this is not so easy that you think is. The reason I'm not jumping into this thing of going over these options pricing, because I'm really fast with those now to calculate, and sometimes these moving averages also help, right? I just became really fast doing them now. It took me a while to learn, obviously, but you know, with time I will get to that part where you guys can start calculating these options pricing. And I don't think there's anybody out there that talks about this, or there's any other group in the market that might talk about these things. These are things that usually funds have information to, but I just happen to learn. Let's just say that, right? I'm not sitting in front of the screens all day, so I think our group might be the only one who talks about these options pricing when they're worth buying it. And I give this to you guys live. This is not going to happen every day, obviously, because some days it does not align. Like today was a waste, right? I'm not going to sit there and look on a 10-point range in SPX and, you know, eat my brain with these things. But when there's momentum, when there's volatility, I will be giving you guys these options, all right, that you guys can take advantage of. Okay, somebody has typed in Discord that you guys can still hear me clear and everything, so I know that I'm not just talking by myself, right? And so do pay attention when I give those things to you. Anything you guys want to cover, just type it in, and then I can cover it, right? And hold off big, and Netflix has a history of selling off big and then it recovers always, but it's been a while. After a long time, we broke the 50 MA on the monthly, right? After a decade, we broke it, and this was a fast drop. Now, same thing is possible on many names that you guys see in the market. All right, Netflix corrected itself near 200 MA, and there's a very good chance, I could be wrong, in case if the market does get panic, and we do have later on a weakness in the market and something happens the way the economy is. If it does give another chance towards this 200 MA in the near future, right? If it does, I might add some equity for long term, just once. Now keep in mind, any company can go down anytime, right? Blockbuster, who knew it was not going to exist? Some of these companies that we're talking about today, Netflix, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, down the road in 34 years, well, two of them might not exist at all. They might have gone to zero, right? Because something will replace them eventually, and everything gets replaced eventually. That's what the history teaches us, right? Mankind. So things are meant to be replaced, but they last until they can. We invest in them until they last, right? Now the reason I came on Netflix was to tell you guys, 330 is a massive gamma level. It's been like that for many weeks now, and we can see why. It's been very tight. The question is, do we hold above 330 continuously and break out to the upside, or do we fail 330 and go to the next gamma level, which is the 310, right? Because these are the levels which are the most interested levels on Netflix, 330 and 310. These two levels, they're always playing around with them. Let's see what happens. Above 335, Netflix will be really strong, and this will consider thanks Yash, this would be considered very strong above 335. All right, but 330 has been being built for a while, and we can see why, right? So this is a very beautiful pattern here. If the market breaks that and we go up, Netflix does have almost a 50-point run. Yeah, believe it or not, on the monthly we could test this 50 MA. Let's just go on the weekly quickly. But again, if we fail 310 to the downside, then it can come down by a lot as well. I don't know how many of you guys can see, but this could be a big bear flag as well, right? It won't take too long before this thing just rolls over, if it wants to. But let's just remove this drawing. But for now, it's been holding this range beautifully. If the market rips and everything holds, I do like the Netflix setup above 335. Above 335, I do like the Netflix setup. All right, and another name that we talked about: Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Walmart. Let's go over some retailers, staples. Right, I'll go over Right as well, Yash. Walmart, one of my favorite names. I go here often for some random shopping. Right, I went there today too, bought some chicken. But Walmart, guys, I mean, the thing with Walmart is, this is not a want. This is a need. Right? And I love companies that are in need. Why? Because they're not going to go out of the business. The stock can underperform for some time, but these businesses are meant to grow, right? They give us what we need. Walmart's still a growing business. They have transitioned to e-commerce as well. You order groceries, pick up. I just love their model, to be honest, and I think they're here to stay for a long time, right? And this weekly setup is insane. If Walmart does break out of this weekly thing, I think we spoke about this a few months back as well, and back in 2020 as well. This is a setup in the making that has taken almost, this is a third year in the making. This thing, if it breaks out, we have 170, 180 written all over Walmart. All right, as long as they don't reject this and we come down. Let's just look at the monthly first. In case if it's a breakout, where can we fall towards also? Right, because a recession is going on right now. I don't know how many of you guys realize it. I believe we are in a recession, whether people believe it or not, but I think we are in recession. The only concerning point here would be, let's just go over this. Something I'm just seeing right now in front of you guys. Last time we broke out of such a long pattern, Walmart broke out, right? Then for a couple of months it had trouble, and then it just fell complete to its 200-day moving average. But then it had a nice little slow downtrend. So again, if the economy really gets messed or something happens, and we do have one of those crazy recessions, so if something like that does happen, then expect a breakout here. And if we do fail, same does not have to happen here. This can just keep on going up, obviously, right? It can obviously keep on going up. So Walmart will be on my radar for some equity ads. If I do like this name, I might just play some equity on the breakout. And with the equity, the thing is, let's say for example, what I mean by that is Walmart's trading at let's say 153 right now, and I end up buying the equity at 153.50. Just an example, for a target of 170, right? That's a big target. That's almost $16.50, right? That's almost a 10% move that I'm trying to catch to the upside. But to the downside, I'll keep my stop at 150 maybe. 3-point stop. Simple, right? So that my ratio is in my favor. So on trades like this, let's say even if I get 1/3 right on such trades on equity, I still win. Make sense? Right? With 3-point stops, with 3 plus 3, I take a $6 loss. But on my third trade, 16.50 minus 6, I still make $10. Makes sense? But these are long-term trades. These require long-term thinking. These are not overnight. These are not overnight trades, right? The equity trades like this, you have to be very patient with them, and you have to understand, grow money. So if you have a big account like 50K, 100K, you can throw 5K, and these trades do help, and they build up over time. All right. So Yash is in Walmart call. But I do have this Walmart thing on my radar. If we do break out, and as soon as I'm just waiting for a gamma build up. As soon as I see 160 calls being bought and build up, I'm gonna jump in with Yash. Right? As soon as I see it, though, I am still waiting. Riot. Before we go over Riot, let's just go over Bitcoin. BTC. BTC looks ugly, by the way. The 50 MA broke down on the daily, but let's just look at the monthly chart. Bitcoin monthly last month was somewhat indecisive, but still holding up. And the question is, on the monthly, we have the 50 MA towards 25K. Let's see what happens. On a lot of volume, there's capitulation on BTC. Interesting. On the daily, we did break up below the 50 MA, and now we can come and test the 200-day moving day average again, just like we did here. We broke down similar fashion. Oh wow, this is actually the same thing. The breakdown here. So the same breakdown that it took here, the same thing is happening here. So keep an eye out on it. If we don't reclaim the 50 MA, those that have Binance or trade options on Bitcoin, this could have a big fall all of a sudden. And then obviously we'll see if the 200-day moving day average gets bought again or not. Bitcoin's pretty good with the 50 and 200-day moving average. It's pretty good, right? But sometimes it just lasts. It's big. But let's see. So look out for this 200-day moving average if it comes. And I do see a nice little head and shoulder pattern here on Bitcoin, right? If we do break this, then we could fall further down. But if we reclaim the 50 MA, if we reclaim this, then never mind. Then we could go much higher, obviously, right? Now Riot. I think I have Riot equity. I'm not sure where, but I think I have Riot shares. I don't know where. I know I used to have Mara, which I sold. But Riot, oh wow, a beautiful. Okay, see this pattern, right? The thing with these names is they come with a lot of risk and reward. Obviously, as you guys know, right? They can go down by a lot too, right? If you bought equity, for example, at 20 by any chance, you thought it was going up, right? And then look what happened, right? It just kept going down. And the reason I don't average down on risky names, because the average down sometimes just kills you. It not only does it kills you, it kills your account as well when you average down a lot, because people get emotionally attached when you do too many average downs, right? But on a daily, Yash, I love this bull flag. I think if BTC can reclaim 50 MA, you can get some help, obviously, right? We break this has a huge move to the upside. So that's all I can say on this. But remind me in the morning, Yash, I'll look at the gamma of positioning and put positioning on it, and I think that will help you a lot. Just remind me in the morning, though. I'll look at it live for you for the next 1 month where the positioning lies, and I'll give you details based on options, right? But Riot, again with Bitcoin, I think this is a beautiful flag. If it breaks out, it goes up, but it just this trend line, you guys can all draw it as soon as we break above it, and then just keep your stop losses. Where would you keep your stop loss on the trend line? It's pretty basic, because this name moves a lot, right? So what you want to do is you buy on this breakout, right? You buy on this breakout, and your stop is this right here. So on this trend line, your stop would be as soon as it comes down on the trend line. Now obviously it can bounce from the trend line, a retest, so you want to wait for the retest. But as soon as it comes underneath and it goes down, then you want to stop out. So what I mean here is, how would a risk person play? If I was to play this equity, how would I play this here? I'll give you guys a very live example. So Riot current price is 11.44. If this breaks out, my measured move is roughly towards 13 plus. All right. So my measured move is towards 13 plus. Like if I was to, like, I'm just gonna give you guys my thinking behind this, okay? So I would make $1.56 profits. All right, and then I will scale out if it keeps going up, and then I scale out slowly, and then plus and plus, right? It keeps increasing. But if it feels it does not work, and I see weakness in Bitcoin as well, it comes down towards, let's say, 1120 or so, which breaks the trend line, right? If it comes down towards 1120 or lower, between 1120. See, one is a stop. One is a technical. Let me teach you. Let me tell you guys one thing also. One is a technical stop, right, which you have to respect. Sometimes what happens is if this